Hello, hope you are all well. As promised, I am doing another video continuing on my first, which is a tutorial on how to make letters or how to write in the design or custom patterns here in Animal Crossing. So this is a second video which is going to be one of the boring ones and what I would consider more of a supplement. So if you haven't caught the first video yet, please consider seeing that one first, because this one will be really just simply me writing every single letter of the alphabet, and will be a little bit on the tedious side, I think, but could be of interest for some people, which is why I'm doing it in the first place. So what I am doing is going to use the same exact colors that I had put together in the first video. So please watch that to find out how I chose the colors and why I chose the colors that I did. So what I've done here is, of course, use that same dark red background as my prior video. I still have, if you look at the upper left on the palette there, kind of dark purple, which will be the background color that allows me to shape my letters. And the next color being that very light pink, which will be the lettering, and the kind of more gray or darker pink, and then the slightly more dark pink, again, that I had put together, again, the same exact shades that you can refer to from my first video. Really what I'm doing is just continuing what I started, but actually writing out all the letters so that you have an idea of what I do, and that way you can figure out if it's the same thing you want to do as well. So what I tend to do is make letters roughly, if they're the big letters like a B or a D, 5 squares tall and 3 squares wide, and the smaller letters like an A and an O, 3 squares tall and 3 squares wide. So let's see, and I like to let there be a 2 square border on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this should be where the A goes. And what you see here is my A. Let me move the preview over so you can see better. And what I'm going to do next, as I did my first video, is use this shaping color, this dark purple, to smooth out this notch here. I'll just put up a dark purple there. You see how it's smoothed out that notch on the preview section? And then, yeah, again, using that dark purple to soften that sharpness of the curve there. So I'll put one in the corner here and a corner here. And you can see it looks a little bit more like an A. When I actually write words, I only make them, one space apart. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to make them 2 spaces apart, so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit more closely, or a little bit easier. Now, you might not like the A that way. It's a little bit on the pointy side. So if you want, you can make it rounder, which you do by making this square and then using this dark purple again to round out just these 2 corners. So it looks more like a rounded shape there. So that's another A that you can use. For the B, it's pretty intuitive. So 5 squares up and making it a little bit like just a little bit of a square there, so it looks like a B. And then taking this dark purple and rounding out the curves on this side. So putting one on this corner here to soften that corner, and a corner here to soften that corner. As for the C, again, this one is pretty simple and straightforward. I would say something a little bit on the more obvious side. Looks like a pixel-shaped C, and soften the corner by adding that dark purple to the left corner, and that dark purple to the left bottom corner. And D, same exact thing as the B. So again, hopefully intuitive by now. Taking that dark purple, soften that left corner, and soften this left corner here. The E is more difficult. The E doesn't really fit into the 3x3, so it ends up being kind of 3 across, but 4 tall. So I make a C, and then just add a couple squares here, so it looks a little bit more like an E. And then I round out the corners. So again, this dark purple, round out the corner on this side, and round out a corner on the lower left. And there you have it. Looks a little bit more like an E. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do an F. And I like to do it like this, with a little bit of a curve there. It might be a bit hard to figure out. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the corner here. But you'll see in a sec. So what I do is I take this purple and round out round out that sort of edge there. And then on the upper right, round out this corner. And I take this little light gray, which you may remember I figured out by making that letter T before. And it's doing that. And it helps sort of sharpen that and separate the ends of the F. And then you can make that little F a little bit less curvy by adding a little bit more of a purple around it. And there you have it. And I just added a little purple to the center there to round that out a bit more. So that's an F. Now we do go on to a G. I think there are a couple ways you can do a G. I like it this way. So here I'm going to go ahead and take that dark purple and soften these corners here. You can also, if you want, soften the upper right. I don't like to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and undo that. And some people might like a little bit of a rounder G, so you can do that too. Or a rounder bottom part of the G, and then soften this corner with that dark purple in the corner there. All right, let's go ahead and do the H. And the H is fortunately more straightforward. So there's the H, and taking that dark purple and soften this corner there. And the I, fortunately, doesn't have much to it. And the J. The J can be pretty variable as well. I kind of like to do it like this. But if you want, you can make it a little bit rounder like this and soften this edge here or this corner there with the dark purple. Or you can even make it kind of more of a squarish round and add a little bit in that corner. Again, soften it with this dark purple here. So, oh, the K. The K is a little bit tougher because it looks funny if you just do it regular. Oop. You can tell it looks like it just looks a little odd. I added a little purple in the middle that softened that a little bit. And sometimes I'll add an extra space here to make it look like it's extended a bit, so it doesn't look quite so, I don't know what to call it, it just looked a little bit different. So adding that little extra on the end kind of made it look a little bit more natural, I think. So let's go on and do the L. Let's see, here we go. So you could just do a straight line like this. I will sometimes just add a little bit on the end there. And again, soften this corner with the dark purple to make it look a little bit rounder. And the M. I think you have options with the M. So this is sort of the straightforward one. Here's the dark purple. You add it to the corner here to soften that. If you want, you can add it to the left side as well. I don't always. And adding a little bit there kind of softens that little, I don't know what to call it, curve there as well. And let's see, let's go ahead and do the N. This one's a little bit more straightforward. Get that dark purple, soften this corner on the upper right, and there you have it. And here we have the O, which I did in the first video, so you can just see me repeat that here. Here's the P. And again, fortunately this is a little bit easier one, just round out that corner. I'm sure you figured out by now with that dark purple, and this one as well. And let's go ahead and give another line so there's plenty of space. Here's the Q. Here's the round part. I just add a little bit on the end there. I don't tend to make a big deal about that part of the Q. round out the corners by adding that dark purple on each side there. Actually, I'm going to remove that on a corner there. I do like it a little bit more square on the right. And there you have the Q. The R, what I do is I start it off like an A on the left-hand side and just put that one more there in the middle. And here's the dark purple just to round out this corner so it doesn't look quite so extended out. Now the S is also a tough one. I've had trouble trying to figure out what I want to do with this. So what I've done is just sort of stacked at the bottom and then made it a little bit of a curve on top. So again, this is one of those exceptions where it's just 3 across but 4 on the vertical side. But it was the only way that I can do it to actually make it look like an S. Here I take that dark purple, I add it to this corner. I actually add it into the middle here, and that helps round a lot of different parts of the letter there. Now here's the T that I showed you in the first video. And this is where I use that middle darker, I guess, pinkish gray. And then I take my shaping color, the dark purple, and put one on each side to I guess, cause it to be more prominent rather than blend into the rest of the letter. And I'm getting close to done. Okay, STU. And taking this dark purple into the corner here to soften that. And if you want, you can soften this side too. I don't like to do that as much, so I'm going to go ahead and undo that. The V can be pretty straightforward as well. What I will do is I'll take this dark color and I'll add it to one of these sides. And actually, I'll do this again so you can see it makes that tiny point just a little bit less pointy. It's a really subtle difference. I don't think many people notice, but I do that just because I notice. Okay, I'm going to move on to another canvas to do the W, X, Y, and Z. And then you should see the results, which will be, you know, kind of a nice thing to have as you try to make signs. All right, 1, 2. Okay, so the W, unfortunately not too complicated. Oops. And again, if you want, you can try to soften the points on the bottom. I just stick shaping that dark purple color right in the middle there, and it makes it a little less pointy. And the X. Fortunately, this looks a lot like an X. If you want, you can stand it out like I did the K to make it not look quite so straight if you want a little bit curvier. And here's the Y. So again, taking this dark purple, adding one to the corner here. If you like to make it more round, you can, like the G before, you can add one in the corner there and use your shaping color to round out that corner. And the Z ended up being another difficult one where you end up making it a little bit taller than the 3 squares up in order to make that separation and have it look like a Z. I take the shaping color and just add it to one of these spaces here to round out or smooth out that cross or that slanted section, and you have a Z. Well, let's go ahead and save this. And now I'm gonna put it out here so you can take a look. So there's the first one. And the last part. And there you have it. Those are the lowercase letters. And what I'll do is I'll make a separate video for the uppercase letters. And when that's done, you'll have a reference for every single letter of the alphabet, both lowercase and uppercase if you like.